So, hi, James.
Morning.
Good morning. Nice to meet you again.
Indeed.
It's a long time that we didn't speak together. Yes.
That's many years.
Many years. Yes. So today we will speak about conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a main subject in this dark time, I would say, yes. Why they have so many conflict?
Well, I will respond to this in a general way and with a Buddhist emphasis.
Yes.
Conflicts, I think, basically arise from assumptions. I assume that I am a particular kind of person and that there are only a few people like me and most people are not like me. And by seeing that they are not like me, either I put them up and make them superior, or I put them down and make them inferior.
Yeah.
Mainly, we like to put them down, so we feel much better.
Yeah.
So I am an individual and indivisible. You can't cut me up. I exist. And when we start from this point of view, then I am Palestinian, I am Jewish Israeli, I am Scottish. If I'm Scottish, I'm not English. If I'm Scottish from Glasgow, I'm not from Edinburgh. So as soon as you say yes to one kind of identity, either directly or implicitly, you say no to something else.
Yeah.
So including myself in one group is excluding me from other groups. So there is a tension that if the others become like me, I will dissolve my sense of self.
Yeah.
I am me because I am not you. So behind that, we have all this fear of immigration. If these people come here, who will we be? They will take our country. So there are many fears like that. So I assume that I exist as a knowable entity.
Yeah.
We're taught this when we're children. We learn it a lot in school. We build up a lot of knowledge about things.
Yeah.
And so our sense of who I am and who the other is depends on my concepts, my way of interpreting.
Yeah.
And so I'm living essentially in a mental world, making sense of what I see. The other possibility is to start with what I see. What is actually arising for me? Shape and color, movement. So if I look at the tree is blowing in the wind. This is a moving shape. The tree is movement. We know that the tree is in conversation with the earth through its roots, with the air through its leaves. It's an interactive participant in this field of becoming, that we become ourselves through our participation.
Yeah.
So this is very different. So if I'm a fixed person and I know who I am and I know who you are, this feeds into conflict very easily. But if I attend to the fact that I breathe in and breathe out, and this is my life, taking the world in, going out into the world, I am a pulsation in a moving field. That's very, very different. Because then we see everyone else is pulsating. So the root cause, I think, of this conflict is misunderstanding of what it means to be alive.
Yeah. Yes, but I can understand what you explained to me, but I think for the most people, the human nature is conflictual.
Yeah.
They don't know how to solve these problems.
Yeah.
It is a long, long, long story.
Yes, because they believe they are someone.
Yeah.
So in the early part of the last century, there were big conflicts between the communists and the fascists and the capitalist groups. and each of them say, this is who I am. And so they start with an assumption, a definition, and not with an investigation. And so the reason we have conflicts is I know that you are not like me, and maybe I decide I don't like you, so you are someone who is maybe dangerous for me. That's an interpretation.
But how can we solve this problem? Okay, the school. Do you think the inner search is the solution? But it is not easy, and I think it is a difficult solution also.
Although human beings can be very intelligent, we also can be very, very stupid. And so we can see that shouting slogans like "Make America Great Again" and, Trump, 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 by saying this kind of group energy builds up as if we know the truth. In fact, we're just making sounds. How will you make America great again? In America, they have very poor public health systems. They have many people sleeping in the streets. They have a huge number of Black people in prisons. There are many social problems that don't make America look very great to other people. So that would require a lot of hard work. And to think, how do we help these people who are not so different from us? Why are they in prison? It's much easier to shout a slogan. So the root cause of the conflict is our addiction to stupidity. Stupidity is much more addictive than heroin. Great Britain. We used to sing, "Rule Britannia." Britannia rules the waves. Britain is the greatest country in the world. And every little country is doing that. In Italy, you had Mussolini. Every country has had some period with dictators who are saying, we are the best, we are the best. And people want to say, yes, we are the best. Now, I don't need to have developed any qualities. I don't need to have any skill. All I need is a mouth that says best, best. This is stupidity. I trust the repetition of concepts to reveal the truth rather than looking and investigating.
But we live in a very difficult world with a lot of conflict. And how can we react again? People who are very aggressive, who are not able to understand.
Well, if I see that someone is aggressive and maybe aggressive towards me, then I think they are dangerous. Then it's very easy to develop an understanding. This person is dangerous and this person is bad. They should be killed or locked up or kept far away. So again, I would say the problem here is knowledge. I am defining this person as bad because they conflict with my interests. So if I am living in the country and other people want to come here because we have not so bad health system and so on, we say you're illegal immigrants, you are bad people, you are stealing what we have. Now, why do I have these resources? Because I was born here. Just by coming out of my mother's body in Scotland, I am somehow entitled to all these things. And these people who are born in another country, they don't entitled. So definition, how we make sense of what is going on is so important. And the easiest way is always to say, this person exists, I know who they are, and I know what they are. And from that starting point, conflict easily arises. You are my enemy. Now America is worried that China is going to be dangerous. For 20 years, the Americans have been feeding all kinds of businesses into China because it was cheaper to produce. Many people became unemployed in America, and then suddenly they go, oh, no, the Chinese are going to be more powerful. What will we do?
Yeah. But we see today that a very common reaction against conflict is war. Ukraine, Israel, and the Palestinian. But how is this possible? Because this is like a psychotic reaction.
It is. It is. But again, I would suggest that it comes about by the installation of an assumption of fixed identity in the other, an identity that I know. So for the Israelis, Hamas are terrorists. But for the Palestinians, at least some of them, Hamas are freedom fighters. They are the defenders of the people. So if we are able to tolerate the fact that other people are not stupid, that they have some intelligence, and that their definition that Hamas are freedom fighters, then we might need to think, why are they fighting for freedom? What is the history of the very difficult condition that the Palestinian people have been living in for a long time? You have to be curious, but it's so much easier to say, no, they are terrorists. If I understand the other person, I see they breathe in, they breathe out, they drink and they urinate. They are part of the world. They buy clothes, they keep a dog, they have children. Oh, they do the same sort of things as me, but I know they are really different because they are terrorists, or they are Scottish, or they are Chinese. So the concept makes us stupid.
Yeah.
Now, my school teachers would never agree with this. They would say, but you have to learn concepts. Concepts are tools for thinking. But your thinking can open you up to say, we are all human beings and we share this world, this planet, so how shall we collaborate? Or your thinking can say, our culture is being destroyed by these bad people. It depends how you use concepts.
Yeah.
A knife can be used by a surgeon to save someone, or it can be used by a criminal to kill someone.
But now we see that the reaction is revenge, or maybe extermination. It is terrible. It is terrible.
Yeah.
And how? What we need a Nelson Mandela who say what is the normal truth, what could be a solution.
Mm-hmm.
But we have no Nelson Mandela, and now we have this terrible situation. Yes, what could be for you a solution? It is a very difficult question.
I think it's wonderful to have every now and then a great leader or someone with a special insight. The problem with that is then you have the leader, who is one, and the followers, who are millions. And what do the followers do? They think, what does the great one say? What does the great one do? So they become more ineffective as that person becomes empowered. Luckily, with Nelson Mandela, he was good-hearted and was trying his best. But there are many idealized leaders who are not doing that. They are saying, money in the pocket, money in the pocket. So again, the solution belongs in everyone.
Mm-hmm.
If I may say just a little from the Buddhist point of view, when we are unaware of our true potential, we go under the power of three factors, which are called the three poisons. Now, poison intoxicates us. We don't think clearly if we've drunk poison. Our body operates differently. So everything we experience is mediated through these poisons. And the first is assumption or opacity. We don't see the world as it is. We project our ideas onto the world. So I grew up in Scotland, and we, as children, we always believed the English are very bad because in the past we fought with them many hundreds of years before, but we knew we don't like the English. I had never met any English people, but I knew I didn't like them. So there we see the thought can pervade the person, the way a gray cloud can fill the whole sky. And once I have that knowledge, I'm not going to give it up, because I know, which makes me feel powerful. The English are bad, they are stupid, they're like this. So knowledge as dogma is the enemy of investigation. I no longer need to look and inquire and put myself into question. So this is the first thing that makes us toxic. And that you see in all the wars. The racial insults that the Americans were using about the Vietnamese, calling them gooks and so on, putting them in a box, feeling entitled to destroy so much of the country with napalm, with Agent Orange and so on, because they are the enemy. The only good red is a dead red. Kill the communists. If you are a communist, you are bad and you should die. This is the logic of assumption.
No.
And from this, you have two other secondary factors. Desire. I decide something is good, so I want it. And I decide something is bad and I want to get rid of it. So if I decide that your country has what I need, I will take it over. So we have wars for economic reasons. We invade, we take it over. The whole history of colonialism was to exploit the resources of other people, including slavery, taking people away from their home, making them limited in their possibility for my benefit. And then the third factor is aversion, not liking, which entitles me to say that I am rational, I don't like you. The fact that I don't like you is a sign you are bad. It's not a sign that I have a prejudice, but that you are bad. So you project the meaning out into the other. Oh, now I have certainty. So the ego self, my individual self, is always looking for certainty. But in this world, which is dynamic and interactive, we have to participate. We have to be close to everything and work with these circumstances as they manifest, I think. But that is hard to do. It's much quicker and easier to say these people are bad. So Mr. Putin is always saying that the Ukrainians are Nazis. The war was finished a long time ago. But by using this insult again and again, he can justify destroying them because they are bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And what do you think about ahimsa, the non-violence? It was the politic of Mahatma Gandhi.
Yes.
It could be a solution.
It could be. It's interesting in history, the term ahimsa became prominent around this early Indian king Ashoka. And he had been very bloodthirsty and he killed many, many people. But one day after a battle, he saw the dead bodies and he thought, this is terrible. And then on the basis of that shock of actually seeing these are human beings who have died, not thinking my enemy is dead, I am successful, but seeing, oh, we have killed people who have children, who have families, who had hopes. He started to change, and then he built many hospitals along the roads, placed wells so that people could have cool drinking water. He started to think of the other. He became inclusive. So the biggest change is to go from excluding the one I think is bad to being all inclusive. We are all human beings together. We all are vulnerable. When we're hurt, we cry. When we are happy, we laugh. This is our common way of existence. Therefore, I'm going to stay with what my eyes show me, that your face is moving and we have some connection, rather than developing a story in my mind about you. So ahimsa means paying attention to the vulnerability of everything which is growing in the world, plants, animals, human beings, and treating them with tenderness and care rather than violence.
Yeah. I think that one way for a solution is the win-win solution.
Mm-hmm.
Not I am the better, the best. Yes.
If we can really appreciate the qualities of other people, that is the very important thing.
Yeah.
So we have of course freely available world music from Africa, many different countries, which in the time of Brahms or Bach wasn't available in Europe. So now we see not only that there are many great musicians all over the world, but there are different kinds of music. Chinese music is not like a sonata, so it's completely different. So you listen to this music and you're introduced to a reformation of yourself. Because if I sit in my Western music loving frame, then this sounds just like noise.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, millions and millions of Chinese people appreciate this as music. So I need to soften myself to enter into how they listen. Or listening to a raga in Indian music, thinking, what is this? Just notes and notes and notes. And then you find, it's a particular patterning of expression of experience. So that is to say, I have to let go of myself to meet the other. I can't sit in my castle and be with the other, because as soon as we get contact, I am changed in the contact.
Yeah.
But I think very often our ego self would like to have different experiences without being changed. So there are in Spain many of these holiday resorts like Benidorm, where you can go into the English pub and you get English beer and you get bacon and eggs and so on. Because the English people, they want to be in Spain for the heat, but not very much of Spain. No Spanish culture, no, just the sunshine and my English food. Yeah. So that's a symbol of how we often behave. We don't want to really be touched and moved and brought into dynamic connection.
So the solution is win-win.
Is respect. Win-win, it begins with respect for the other. There is something of value there.
Yeah. Yeah.
When the British went to Australia and they met the indigenous people, who we call them the Aborigines, we didn't respect them. We just thought, this is like some kind of animal, because they're not like us. Yeah. But if we had had respect, we could have learned many, many things, because they had a whole different way of viewing the world. But we said, no, rubbish, we know. We come with the Bible, we have the truth.
Yeah.
So win-win means being curious, willing to learn.
But in this so crazy world, love your neighbor as yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Seems sometimes to be a very strange solution. Yes, a very strange.
Yes.
Meaning, what do you think about this?
Well, we might want to change the statement so that it is love your neighbor, really love your neighbor, so that they can free you from the prison of yourself.
Okay. Yes.
Because if you really get close to someone else and they annoy you a bit, like in a relationship, but you think, anyway, I love you, gradually you get loosened up. It's like going to the gym and doing exercises. Your heart and your mind are opened to value the other person as they are, rather than making them a means to my satisfaction.
Yeah. Sometimes we can fall into despair, and like Job, raise out our first against God, only to realize that within us there is the answer, even if we don't know it. What do you think about trust?
I think it's always what the object or the direction that you put your trust in. Because in Britain, we export many, many weapons. We are a big exporter of methods for killing people. So some people trust there will always be wars, so they invest their money in these companies which produce death. Mm-hmm. So that's a kind of trust. But deep trust.
Yes, deep trust.
Deep trust means to see the potential of collaboration. Yes. And that you have the potential to collaborate with me, and I have the potential to collaborate with you, so that we should meet in the middle.
Yeah.
You will change in order to meet me, and I will change in order to meet you. And because you are changing, I cannot predict who you will be, and you cannot predict who I will be. So that means we can't just close our eyes and fall asleep and say, oh, I know Guido, he is like this. Who is Guido today? Who is Guido in this moment? Mm-hmm. So this is a kind of automatic training in mindfulness. If you are not who I think you are, if you are an ever-changing display of your potential, I need to be alert and with you and responding to you.
Yeah. So, James, I think we had a very important, not discussion, but mm-hmm. Your teaching has been for me very, very good, and I thank you very much. Yes.